Hi, I'm Greg Robinson and this is myphotographyshow.com. I'm here right now to critique this image. This image was sent by Miroslav, who didn't give us a description and entitled it Bubbles 3. Now, I'm going to critique this image. I have to precise that Miroslav is one of my students on PPSOP for one of my courses, and this is one of the photos that I teach how to take on that course. Okay, so check it out on PPSOP if you don't know it. What Miroslav did here is basically a shot of bubbles. Now, many of you might not know that inside bubbles, just simple bubble solution, you have absolutely beautiful macro images that I really strongly encourage you to take. Okay, Miroslav asked me to critique this image on top of the critiques that I do for PPSOP. So here we go, Miroslav. I'm going to critique this in two parts, maybe three. First one will be about settings, the second one will be composition, obviously, and the third part I'll talk about what you could have done to better the image a bit. Okay, here we go. So, in terms of settings, I know that you were shooting this in natural light, therefore you chose 1600 ISO because you wanted great depth of field, but still a fast enough shutter speed to freeze the motion in those bubbles. Which is why your aperture is closed to f32 and you were still lucky enough to get 1/60th of a second. I know you're shooting on the Nikon D3X, so 1600 ISO isn't too bad for him. I find your settings perfect. I would have probably pushed, as I suggested in the lesson, to go up to 1/80th of a second, if not 100th. But 1/60th, it seems to work pretty well for you, although it's slightly blurry around here and around here. We're kind of wondering what's going on here. But I think that's part of the compression, the JPEG compression in results, so I don't know about that. So in terms of settings, great, I can't say anything more. In terms of composition, I find it pretty interesting, especially as it kind of guides our eye from the bottom left here, going around in the circular motion of the bubble to finish off on these beautiful colors here. That's pretty good. I quite like what you've done there. Although I find that there are a bit too much bubbles, okay, a little too many bubbles here. I would have suggested maybe one or two bubbles like the big ones you've got behind, but no more. There are kind of too many bubbles. It becomes confusing after a while, okay. Otherwise, compositionally again, I find all this black space here to be unnecessary. So I would suggest kind of combining the two things I just said by getting rid of these little bubbles that are a bit confusing and the black background there, by basically bringing your composition to something like this. Okay, that'll make it a little more interesting. We might lose a bit of bubble here, but it's not too bad. Get something interesting. Got to look out here. There we go. That's starting to look a bit more interesting. There we go. We've got a bit less black around the bubbles and everything gets a bit more interesting. As you can see, it is still confusing around this area, so less bubbles would make it look much better. Otherwise, in terms of bubble solution, I think you used soap. I don't know what you did. I think you told me you use soap. What I tend to do is use the real bubble solution that you can find in children's shops, where they sell toys or magic things, you know, things for children in general. They have great bubble solution. You mix it in with a bit of glycerin and that'll make the bubble hold a little longer. The advantage of that is you can then just blow one bubble. So to do that, you put your straw inside the solution, blow once, and you'll get one bubble. Then you just take your straw out into that bubble and make it bigger. Okay, that'll avoid getting so many bubbles just like you did here. And your sun was perfectly placed in order to get those beautiful colors. The black background was the way to go. On the rest of the image, I have nothing to say. Perfect. Well done on that, Miroslav. For those of you who do not know this kind of technique, I really invite you to check out my photo class on ppsop.com, which is my magic course. It's called Photography Magic, where you learn lots of very interesting techniques. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something here as well, whether it's in terms of composition or settings. It's always interesting to see how others go wrong so that you can avoid being wrong and get better pictures that way. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, find us on YouTube. Go and share everything on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our videos on YouTube and send your images in for a free critique on myphotographyshow.com. I'm here for that. I'm more than pleased to do it for you. So please just send your images in. This is Greg Robinson from myphotographyshow.com saying see you soon.